I had already given my boss a notice at that point. When she heard this, it was more of the same, crying and pleading like before. I told her to leave or I would call the police. She reluctantly left, and I just lay on the floor wondering where I went wrong. How did my marriage get to this point in such a short period of time? I just couldn't understand it. I was somewhat sure of the divorce before, but after she and I spoke, I was now more sure of my decision than ever before. I ignored all efforts on Sue's end for contact again. However, a few days ago, this was on Thursday, I received a phone call from my mom that Sue was in the hospital. Apparently, she was hospitalized for a substance overdose. This all felt like a nightmare. I still don't know how to process all of this. Why is all of this happening? I visited Sue in the hospital and she seemed to be okay, but she was checked into a psych ward. That's where things are at now. I still have no idea why she would do this, and the time I visited her she was asleep. It hurts cause I still love her, and right now I'm just happy she's okay. I haven't been thinking of the divorce given what's going on right now. How do I even proceed? Update: Sue was in a pretty bad mental state, and fortunately, she got better after some therapy. I felt really bad for her, but I knew I couldn't stay. I know a lot of people have made it through this kind of stuff, but I know myself. Had I stayed, I'd only be doing myself and her more harm than good. I'll never get over it, and will probably harbor some resentment even a couple of years from now. We agreed to divorce, but she wanted us to remain in contact even if it was just minimal. The divorce process was pretty smooth and we got divorced about a month ago. I moved to the West Coast to start anew and things were finally starting to look good for me. But then I got a phone call about Sue again from her sister, and long story short, Sue suffered from a stroke. She is almost completely immobile on the left side of her body and can barely speak. I can't even put into words how effing devastating that was to hear, let alone how crushed I felt when I went to visit her. She looked nothing like the person I knew, and she'd always cry when she saw me. One of the worst parts about all this is I can't help but feel like it's my fault this happened to her. People tell me it isn't, but I feel like it is. Even though her closest family says it's not my fault, I can sense some hostility from them whenever I speak to them. Her aunt cussed me out in front of everyone when she saw me and they were all silent. They just asked me to leave it alone and get on with my life. As much as I wish I could just move on, it still hurts knowing how all this SHT turned out. I haven't spoken to Sue since she got the stroke, and her family won't let me see her cause apparently I cause her stress. I don't even know the full details because I don't have the right to know now. I just can't seem to catch a break. F me, I guess.